like white churches, like the music's not that great. It's not. So that was like hard for me. But so that being said, I kind of resented that part of my life for a while. I was kind of like, you know what, this is when I got the most upset, it was kind of like I resented the idea of there being either a God or a higher power. And for those of you who are uncomfortable with the term, think of me saying God as a good orderly direction. So instead of a Christian man in the sky, like, just get that picture out of your head. Let's just talk about something that promotes something greater than us as an individual, something that brings us together, and something that gives us a purpose to help each other out, something that's greater and perfect, divine, you know? Anyways, it's hard for me to, like, talk about this stuff, to be honest, because, like, it's such a you don't talk about religion or any of that, especially publicly. I feel like people just don't do it. But, I've been seeing, like, Justin Bieber and Kanye, obviously, like, so I want to share with you guys some stories, and you can just, all I ask is that you listen. These are true stories. Everything I tell you right now is true. Before boy band, 2017, even 2016, I was going through, it was probably the lowest point of my life, going through puberty and then just wanting to always do the, just wanted to always be the bad kid. I always walked around with a chip on my shoulder. I wasn't a great person. I wasn't a good representation of a human being, like, to be frank. And I remember reaching an all-time low point where, I wanted to, it's good, I wanted to do this music thing, but it wasn't necessarily working out. But I can't do this. Hold on. My bad, guys. 1 second. Yo, are you good? You have everything? Okay, word. Sorry, I can't with people in my I can't do this with people in my space because I'm just like, and so I don't know, it's hard. So anyways, I was at an all-time low as far as like at the point where I was stripped of all of my personal strength. At some point I was like, dude, like, I'm helpless. I've got nothing else. And so one of the things, I used to take walks to and from my girlfriend at the time's house. I used to walk like almost every night back and forth, and on these walks, I was 17 at the time, and I was basically given an ultimatum of either you're gonna go to college or you're on your own. And on my own meant I was doing music by myself, supporting myself and all that. So I was like, man, this is tough. So I'm going back and forth from my girl's house, and I didn't even necessarily know how to pray or anything. I was just talking out loud. I was saying what I wanted. I was saying my fears, saying what I was scared of. I remember, like, I had this video. I had the Shine video, right? And I was like, I just need this Shine video to blow up. That's all I need. That's all I need, man. Like, if that blows up, like, I'll be fine. And I felt like that was like the last thing I had left. That was the absolute last, like, piece of art that I had, and if that didn't do well, it was like over for me, basically. And so, as I'm doing this every night, I'm saying these things, I'm asking for help. Of course, if you guys have watched Harry Potter, you know that if those at Hogwarts who ask for help always receive it. So, kind of the same mentality here. As I was like, man, I need help. I don't know if anyone's listening, but I need somebody. I need somebody listening. No one else is. Anyways, I was answered. I was helped. I got a DM from the casting producer on ABC, and my life changed. Of course. Now, granted, my life changed. I go through boy band, and I kind of stopped asking for help, stopped doing this, because I was like, oh, I got it. Like, I'm good. I got through the door. By the way, I don't know. Sorry, you guys are distracting me, to be honest. You gonna tell us who we gotta fight for you? You ain't gotta fight anybody. Y'all are distracting me, man. You kind of just, like, look, here's the thing. Y'all talking about comments. I get there's gonna be people in the comments who say certain things or whatever. Like, look, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all backing me up, but we gotta just, you can't fight fire with fire, you know? You can't go through life. Look, I appreciate that you guys want to protect me and you guys want to help me out, but it's at some point, like, if you're giving these people the attention that they want, that's what they want. They feed off of that. A lot of people are so insecure that they will say things or do things in order to get any sort of attention from somebody else. And at the end of the day, these people might even make threats, they might make comments, they might say certain things, but at the end of the day, it's all a reflection of the person that's inside of them and the true turmoil and the insecurity that they're dealing with. So I say, if anything, we just need to treat each other with respect. And obviously, I'm not going to get that respect. And I hope you guys know that through my career and through everything that I'm going through, I'm not gonna be the most loved guy my whole life. Like, I may do and say the right things and say things from my heart and stuff, but at the end of the day, like, some people are still gonna say rude things. People are gonna still have their opinions. Like, I was walking the other day, and keep in mind, yo, like, I've been killing it as far as, like, this whole life thing. Like, I'm going down the street, and I'm just walking. I'm going to Barnes & Noble to literally, like, it was this crazy thing. I'm going to, like, get a book, right? And I passed this group of kids, and I'm not looking at them. I'm not doing anything, but this guy's like, yo, like, that kid looks like Little Xan, but like a wannabe. And he says it, like, so that I can hear him. I didn't, like, look at him or anything, but that's the thing. It's like, I could have looked and I could have turned, and I could have gone crazy. 15, 16-year-old Conor would have been like, right at his face trying to throw hands, like, immediately. But I didn't. I heard it. I kept forward, and I just kept walking. So I say all that to say, there's a lot of noise. Sometimes, like, people try to throw you off your game, man. They really do. And I'm not speaking to the people who are call them the antagonizers. I'm just speaking to the people who love and respect yourselves and me and everyone else. So, that being said, let's move on. I'm done with all that. But Anyways, I want to get back to my story. So I go through boy band, right? And I'm not really this whole prayer thing. I'm like, it was just that one time, like I ain't really like, I'm not really about that life. And you know what? I'm gonna fast forward to a couple months ago. Let's say like December-ish. No, like November, even October. Whenever I started this again, because I started this and I was doing the morning pages and I stopped around June or July, and that I stopped before tour, and that was like the worst decision I could have ever made. It made me so depressed, so like, just it was the worst thing I could have done, because if I'm not creative, I'm depressed, because as an artist, as someone who has a career as an artist, if I'm not creating art, I feel worthless, I feel hopeless, I feel like I'm literally I feel like I literally have no purpose, like, to live, like, to put it bluntly and harshly, but it's really how I feel. And so I get back into this book, and this amazing woman, Julia Cameron, she talks about one of the main things is like dipping into the creative well, and she talks about the use of God, but in her words, good orderly direction. And so I'm doing this, and the whole concept is basically, you're not the one who's I don't know if you ever heard artists saying, like, you're not the ones writing the songs. Like, I didn't write the song. Like, I was just the one with the pen. Like, you always hear that all the time. You're like, where are people getting this from? It's because to write songs, to create art, you have to listen. We're not the scientists. We're not the ones being like, oh, I gotta be better. I gotta be strong. I gotta do this. It's like, you just kind of gotta be open and listen, because you're gonna get fed the right idea, but it's, are you willing to jot that down? Are you scared to jot down what you're actually thinking, or are you gonna try to filter it and then jot it down? Because if you try to filter it too much, it's not gonna come out at all. And so through the exercises that this book was doing, I noticed my whole life changing around me. I noticed my relationship with my family getting better. I noticed I started my room and the things I was buying, the things I was treating myself with, like, not just material things, but time. I was giving myself days where to just be by myself. I was saying no to hanging out with people who were toxic for me. I was saying no and removing myself from situations where I felt like the energy was, what's the word, like, just like, toxic is a good word for it. I just wanted to be smart and think of a better one. But anyways, so yeah, that had been going on, and I'm noticing these changes, and I'm thinking about this good orderly direction thing, but growing up, for me to grow up in church and all that, I was thinking of the God that I read about, like you hear about in the Bible, and I hear like the stories of Noah and Moses and all these things. Like, I went to Sunday school, I knew all that, so when I see the word God, I associate it with that. So naturally, I'm just gonna like kind of think of that. And when I see my life changing around me, I'm like, oh wow, like it really is a product of some higher power, some higher degree, whether it's and so much so that when I started writing music again, I was saying God in my music. I was saying it a lot. Not actually, I wouldn't say a lot, but it felt like a lot, because I never said that. I never really mentioned that, because I was like, I don't want to force a religious concept on somebody. I don't want people to feel uncomfortable with my music. And then, and it really scared me, because I had like 2 songs or 3 songs. The last 3 songs I wrote, I mentioned God, and like all of them, I was like, dude, like, I'm scared, and it stopped me from writing. It really stopped me from writing. So I go up to the rooftop of this apartment building every day, and I look out on the city, and I talk and I pray, and I'm like,